Okay, so here's a tutorial number 2 about Photoshop. Today we're going to learn about the tools available in Photoshop and the keyboard shortcuts. So open up Information Technology folder to start and open up a Photoshop document. You'll notice there's also a new folder in your link. It's called Photo Samples. We'll have a look at that in this. Here we go. So I got 5 or 6 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photos in there that are new, and those are ones that we're going to probably be using for demonstrations and whatnot and tutorials. So now open up Photoshop. There we go. Computer was a little laggy earlier on. Hopefully it's not still lagging. Sometimes these computers update themselves. And there's not much you can do about it. You just have to wait till they're done. Okay, so here we go. We've got File. We're going to open up File. Try again. Open up File. There we go. Computer was thinking. Press Open. And I've already got that folder selected here, but if you were looking for it, actually it'll be on your desktop. Second thought, those were in my pictures, and you'll notice you might have those same photos in your own pictures folder. But we're going to go to the desktop, and we're going to go into our Infotech folder. Where are you? There you are. Information Technology, open it up, and then go into Photo Samples. That way, just in case you don't have your own in your pictures, you'll have them here. We're going to open up the Tulips JPEG. So click on it, open it up. There we go. Now, first things first, this is sort of a review from what we did last day. Is we go into the image drop down menu and we go to adjustments, and I want you guys to play around with all of these different things in the next little while, but today we're just going to be working with black and white again. So select black and white, panels open up, and we're going to be taking some color out. We're going to take the reds out, so you bring it all the way up to the top. You can see how, as you bring it up, less and less of the reds show, and those were basically we're bleeding all the red out of the picture. Even though it's black and white, we can't see it. The things that actually are red, we're taking out. Don't take all of it out. Maybe 227 would work okay. We want to see some of the definition in the petals. And then also go for, I think it was the greens. Just double check. Yeah, the greens we're going to take out as well. You notice the background now lightens up. We're taking some of that vibrant green that was in the photo before, just to show you the difference there. Now if we took the blue out as well, you'll notice that the sky disappears, because the only thing pretty much that was in the photo that was blue was the sky. So we won't bother taking that out. Matter of fact, you can make it a little darker if you want to. And press OK. Alright, so now our picture is black and white. A couple things I'm going to show you down here in the bottom right hand corner. There's one place that's called Create New Layer, or a new layer. If we click on it, we create a new layer above our background. We're going to click, let's make 2 new layers, and I want you to select layer 1, and we're going to work on that layer. Now whenever we do anything to this photo, we're going to be doing it on the layer, and that way if we don't like what we have, we delete the layer. That's all you do. To delete it, you press right click, I think it is, yeah, and delete layers up there. There you go. So first thing we're going to look at today is going to be this tool down here. Yours might look a little different. It might be the rectangle tool. If you right click on it, you can see all the different tools that are available to you. Primarily we're going to look at rectangle tool, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool. These are the tools that you can easily play around with. The line tool is a little different. The custom shape tool is also different. We're going to click on the rounded rectangular tool and we'll use that one. And Yeah, that's what we'll do. And we're also going to look at these colors, the foreground and the background color. I want you to click on the little box above it. Oh, I'm just going to close that up. Little box above it that's black and white. You'll notice that you get automatically black and white selected. Very useful in the Flash program. It's exactly the same. Also, if you wanted to switch from one to the other, you can use the reverse arrow thing. Alright, so anyhow, if you click on, let's say, the white one, if it's in the front, you're going to create a foreground color. This is what we want to do. And I'm not sure what your default might be, maybe red or green or kind of orangey. I want you guys to select red just because we'll be working the same color that way. And then press OK. Alright, so now we're going to draw a box over top of the flower in the center. Make it a little bit smaller. There we go. Now you'll get a properties panel open. You'll notice that you can close the panel here and you can open the panel. That's just the double arrow thing. And the properties panel, you just click on it to open it. Options, down arrow if you want to change the color right now to blue, you can just change it, or you want white or whatever it is you want. You can keep it at red for now. Don't worry so much about this one. I believe this is the background color that you're changing. But anyways, we can just leave it as is. And let's go back, close that. Other things you can do. Okay, so there's a boundary. This is your boundary. How many pixels are in your boundary? If you increase it, you'll see that the boundary increases. If you decrease it, the boundary decreases. I'm just going to increase it a little bit so we can see what it actually does when I change a few things to the boundary. It becomes really useful when you're working with a Flash program and you're making, let's say, characters. You're drawing like cartoon characters. Okay, go into the drop down box beside that one, and you can change the different type of boundary that you've got. You can see that. That's that function. Underneath that, there's different style of boundaries you can have. So if you like that one better, whatnot. There's some differences. Different kinds of edges. I think on the inside you can see these little blue boxes that change. And does that change much? Not really that you can see. So probably if you had a different size, shape, or something like that, it would you'd be able to see the changes that are involved with that. Anyhow, we don't want to have a boundary on ours at all, so bring it right down to 0. And one more thing you can do here, if you wanted to change the shape of your rounded rectangle, you can just click on or hover your mouse over top of the little corner box thing, and it'll increase or decrease the amount of radius that you've got there. So make it a little bit rounder. That's probably good. The things that you have at the bottom here are kind of interesting. You can make all the color outside of that rectangle or inside. These are two different things. I believe they have to do with if you make more than one rectangle, then the color that's overlapping the corner would be colored, and in the opposite one, this one would be everything else outside of that little box that where you have the overlap would be having color. Anyhow, we just keep it at the first one. It's good enough. And we can close that. Next thing to show, two more things. Down here where it says fill at the bottom, you've got a drop down box with your fill color, your fill percentage. You can decrease that to decrease the amount of fill in that box. Also another very useful tool when we're working in this program and in Flash. So use that often, know that it's there. And last thing here, to show you in basic tools, the selection tool at the top left corner of the panel here, there's a little checkbox beside short transformation controls. If you check on it, then you have the ability to change the size of the shape. So you can click on a corner, for example, and you can make the box a little bit bigger. And I want you to make it bigger than the flower at the front. Okay, that's pretty much all I want to show you guys for those controls right now. Oh, yeah, one more thing. It says you have to apply the transformation. You do want to apply it, and then you can uncheck the transformation controls there. If you ever lose track of where that is, you also have that in the edit function where it says free transform. You can just either press Control T or you can go into your edit function to find that. Very useful, helpful tool for sure. Okay, next thing to show you now. We're going to use the eraser tool. Okay. By the way, if you wanted to make another, we're going to look at keyboard shortcuts. If you want to make another rectangle, for example, you can press the Control U key. Actually, no, just the U key, and then you can draw all over the place, rectangles wherever. Also, eraser tool has its own keyboard shortcut. You can right-click it. You can see the different kinds of eraser tools we've got. The E key, that's your keyboard shortcut right there. That will bring up your eraser tool. So if you press, okay, this is another little thing. Once you've drawn a color onto a blank layer, it says you have to rasterize the shape. Just press OK when it says that. Anyhow, before you open up the eraser tool, you have to do that. Okay, so a couple things with the eraser tool. Opacity, the top, is the amount of ability your tool is going to be to erase something. If you have your opacity very low, it's very similar to your fill, and it won't completely erase whatever it is that you're trying to erase. So for example, I'll bring the opacity right up to 100% so you can see, boom. I just hit it once and you can see that it erases everything in there. And if I lower that down to, let's say, 50%, and I erase, it only erased half of that color. Or if I bring it down to, in this case, what I want to look for is more like maybe 20% just to start with. We don't want to erase too much. Another thing to look at with your eraser tool is the down arrow here is your tool itself, is your eraser. Different kinds of erasers that we can choose. Different edges. It's just like a brush tool actually. It's very interesting that way, is that you can use like a spray tool or an airbrush tool, or you can use a harder edge like a pencil, or you can just pick the default one at the top right hand corner or the one right beside it, whichever. Anyways, play around with the different ones. I suggest just using the first two, kind of, maybe the top corner one, or even one of these tools just to begin with. The difference between this one and this one is that this is a very hard edge. This is a very soft edge in comparison. So yeah, play around with them a little bit and you can see what they do. Anyhow, another thing that we want to know in terms of keyboard shortcuts is how to zoom in and do it quickly without having to look in the panels here. The zoom in tool is down here, but if we press the Z key, all of a sudden we've got our zoom in tool in front of us. Now if we click on it, which we want to do, we want to zoom in, then we can zoom in really quickly. And if we press the E key, we go back to our eraser and we can continue to erase. There we go. I have to erase a whole bunch, you can see, because our opacity is pretty low. Anyhow, you know what? I think we'll bring our opacity back up, because we want to make a harder edge to begin with. So you can bring it right up to 100% if you like. And I'm going to press the Z key again and zoom in again. And I'm going to move up a little bit. Now I did that using the roller wheel. You can move your image up and down. The only way I can find to move it sideways, looking for a shortcut for that, is just to use the slider at the bottom. But anyhow, now if you want to zoom out from there, you hold the Alt key down and you click. So zoom in, just click, Alt key, zooms out. There we go. Now the E key, once again, is your eraser. We want to erase this edge. Something else I'm going to show you here, if you're finding your eraser tool is too big, too small, the square bracket key at the top right hand corner underneath the plus sign, if you press the right one, your eraser tool gets bigger and you can erase more quickly. If you're doing a fine edge, you hit the left square bracket and it gets smaller, and then you can zoom in, make your eraser tool, press your Z key, or your E key rather, make your eraser tool really small, and you can do a very fine job of erasing the edge. So I'll go Z key, zoom in. I want to get right in here. Go right into the pixel, at the pixel level. Press my E key for my eraser. Make my eraser brush really small, and then I can erase those pixels. There we go. Right into the corners. And I can use my mouse roller wheel to go up, and I can get the edge. If you go over a little bit on your image, it's not going to make a huge deal. And as well, when I want to make my brush bigger, I press this, the right square bracket, and then I can erase lots. Move my image over a little bit. I want to clean up that image a little more than it is. So make my brush smaller again. There we go. Clean it up. Okay, so that's the idea. Now I want you guys to do a very fine job of cleaning around this first tulip in the way that I'm showing you. So go around the thing. Doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a little bit of time. Not really sure what we're looking at there, if that's another flower. So I'm going to back out. Z key, hold the Alt key down and click. Yeah, that's another flower there. So I'm going to hit the E key for my eraser, and I'm going to keep erasing. I've got that edge pretty clean. Make my eraser bigger by hitting my right square, and clean up the rest of it. Nice thing about these shortcuts is that you can move from one to the other really quickly. And the key that I'm going to be looking for in your work is how clean you've got the edge. So again, you're going to have to zoom in and zoom in rather, and press your eraser and make your eraser small and clean that edge up. Takes you a little bit of time. The nice thing about this is it's kind of mentally therapeutic. You get to really focus on something that's simple, and it I don't know, in some way lets your mind relax. You get used to the keyboard shortcuts a little bit, and yeah, and it works kind of nice. So I'm not really sure what's happening with my flower again, so I'm going to Alt out of there. There we go. Oh, I can see it goes back up. So I'll zoom in. E key for my eraser. Just keep going. Make my eraser big. Smaller. Okay, so you guys get the idea. Alt key, zoom out, and I'm going to zoom out actually all the way. So you can see right away that that flower all of a sudden takes a really nice looking edge. If you know, the nicer the job you do with it, the nicer it's going to look. You can see where it's not really finished here. You know, you probably want to go back, grab your eraser tool again, and clean it up a little bit more right on that edge so it looks nicer. So that's going to be the key to your success in this lesson for sure. Okay, So that's the first step that's involved with this. I'm just going to back out here, Z key, Alt, saving. When you guys are finished this first flower, going all the way around it, nice clean edge, going to save this. This is the first thing that I'm going to be looking for from this, and you're going to hand in this photo. We're going to do a total of 5 flowers. We're going to do them in different ways though. The first flower on the front, I want you to do it this way. So when you're done, File, Save. We're just going to be saving the PSD file. So save as, and same in your documents. And it's going to be called Tulips. You're going to be calling it what's the name again? Color filter tulips. Yeah. And again, we're going to show you another couple tutorials working forward. So when you finish saving this one, then move on to the next tutorial, and we'll keep going. Okay. So anyhow, have fun, and we'll talk to you in the next one.